Who makes the best big survival knife out there? Well, we're going to be looking at that question and more on today's episode of Knife AQ, episode 215 of the series where I answer all your questions, sharp or dull. Hey everyone, David C. Anderson here, coming at you from the KnifeCenter. Welcome to the show. Welcome Thomas behind the camera, as usual.
Did I go somewhere?
Mentally or physically?
Good question.
Well, good thing, because this is a question and answer video. And if you're new to them, what we do is we take your knife-related and sometimes non-knife-related questions from the comments section of these videos. First question today comes from Sir Galeth. Hi DCA, what is available for less than 7-inch blade fixed blades that can be used both as a mini machete for cutting branches up to 1/2 inch in one swing, and also for batoning 2 to 3 inch logs? Micarta handles preferred, less than 1 pound weight. Well, with that kind of size and mission parameters, there's a knife that always comes to mind first, and that is the K-Bar BK7. We're going to be talking about them, but also it's a good chance to look at what I think of as like the big three of big survival knives in the industry: Becker Knife and Tool, Essie, and Tops. So I'm going to have 3 options, one each from both of them, and then some dark horse candidates. But as you're watching this, or if you already have an opinion formed, share down in the comments below. Who do you think makes the best big survival knife? Becker, Essie, or Tops? See how it goes. First, the Becker BK7. Now, this does not come with Micarta handles as standard, but you can purchase them if you wish. The knife itself, the BK7, is about $137. The Micarta handles are about another $50, and you can get them in natural or black. We've got a 7-inch clip point blade, 3/16 thick, 1095 CV carbon steel, and very ergonomic injection molded handles right here. And it's a knife that handles nimbly for its size, I would say, and it's an adaptable knife. You can certainly use it to lop off the branches of the size you're talking about, and even a little bit thicker. And you've got a nice pronounced swell here at the back that allows you to choke back very comfortably and securely to get a heavier hit to, make it cut bigger than its size would otherwise lead you to believe. Weight on this is 12.9 ounces. I actually don't have the spec for the weight with the sheath, but here is the sheath. It's nylon, fairly lightweight, so it's not going to add a ton of weight. Molly on the back, belt loop on the back, strap or retention loop on the front, and even that extra little pocket here for extra goodies, and it'll even hold the little Becker Remora knife there in the little sheath, so you can piggyback that smaller utility blade in if you wish, along with this. Next up from Essie, the closest thing to what you're looking for there, I'd say would be the Essie 6, and I'm going to show you the version with the contoured Micarta handles here. Any of the contoured handle scale versions here are going to be more comfortable, and I think a little more secure in chopping for light machete work. $150 for this knife. So you're getting the Micarta handles on the knife for less than what you would have to pay to get the Becker with Micarta handles, but you are giving up a little length. This is only about a 6.5 inch blade as opposed to that full 7 inches, and it's full flat ground as well. So it's slicier, but it doesn't hit quite as hard. So it all depends on what you're going for is going to inform what is the right tool for you. But the contoured handle ones, I say, are definitely the way to go. I will say, when choked back for a little extra reach for the light machete work, it's not quite as secure feeling as on the Becker. I mean, that is just a big honking chunk of handle there, giving you a much more secure grip for that sort of thing. And it's shaped really nicely to be comfortable. But let's see, I'm trying to think of like nimbleness here. They're both balanced really, really well. Yeah, either one you get is going to be balanced really well for the small stuff. I think the Becker's going to hit a little bit harder though. Sheath on the Essie is injection molded, comes with a belt clip, so you don't get the extra pocketability, but you do get more kind of adjustability, more variability, I guess is a better word in this case. You can attach it different ways than you might be able to on the Becker sheath. And weight with the sheath here is 18 ounces, so just over a pound. 13 ounces for the knife itself. Next up, Tops. And there's a few we could kind of consider as operating in a similar space to the BK7, which is kind of the archetype that I'm holding up here. The one that I think comes closest while coming in under the weight limit you're looking for is the Armado 6.5, or at least that's the one I'm going to show today. Same essential steel on all these. SE and the top's 1095, the Becker 1095 Crovan, which in real world use shouldn't really be any different between the two. It's going to be about as tough, about as edge-holdy as either of them. Weight on this knife is 14 ounces with the sheath is 19, and it's a Kydex sheath right here with a pivotable loop and a snap right here. But if you wanted to attach something else to the sheath to give you a more positive retention, that is an option too. 3/16, again, all of these are about 3/16 of an inch thick on the steel. You've got a broader cross section on the blade here. More pronounced belly here, and that could be a plus or a minus depending on what you're macheteing. On branches, it may give you a little more of a glancing hit, but on grasses or reedy type materials, that'll slash through, I think, pretty nicely with all that extra belly. Again, your mileage may vary depending on where you're going. More security in that choked back grip than the ESEE for sure. Because of the pronounced beak right there. Not quite as hand-filling or as comfortable as the Becker, but you do have that additional bit right there. I do love the slicing geometry on this knife, however. I love that tall, flat grind for all the more general purpose stuff we're looking at. In terms of batoning, I've been talking about the machete ability here. In this case, I'm going to have to give it to the Becker again. Just the geometry here, it's a little bit thicker, which for slicing is less of a good thing, but as a splitting wedge, is a nicer thing. The ESEE with its full flat grind is going to be a narrower wedge. The actual overall thickness is the same, but you've got a little bit more wedge-like construction on the BK7. And then the Armado 6.5, same thing. It's a little narrower of a wedge. And you've also got this long swedge along the spine, which might tear up your batoning stick a little more readily than the other two. Can't go wrong with any of them, however. Let me just be clear about that. Price-wise, the ESEE would be the cheapest with micarta, then the Becker once you upgrade the micarta handles, or the Becker would be the cheapest if you don't get the micarta handles. The ESEE, or sorry, the top is coming in about $217 right now. But what do you think? Best big survival knife of the big three USA companies here? ESEE, Becker, tops. Let me know. Two extra recommendations or extra things to look out or look at as well, just for kicks. Not part of what I consider the big three, but still worth looking at for sure. Condor Knife and Tool, the Mountain Pass Camp Knife at about $100 and a little bit of change. Comes with micarta handles. You've got 1095 carbon steel, again, same stuff. Not nearly as thick as the other two. So it's gonna move a little quicker on some slashier moves, but it might not hit as hard. The velocity might make up for that on the small branches you're talking about. So again, your mileage may vary. And while it's not as big of a wedge for batoning, it's still gonna do pretty nicely. You might be surprised even at a thinner stock like this, which is more, it's not quite 1/8 of an inch, it looks like. 0.12, it's 3 millimeters. So yeah, not quite 1/8 of an inch, but virtually. Not so much of a beak there at the back for security when you're choking back, but it does feel pretty secure. Part of that might be down to the texture on the micarta right there. And this comes with a leather sheath too. If you prefer a more classically styled sheath, this is the first amongst what I'm showing you now that will give you that. And the balance on that is nice. And being thinner steel, the weight is certainly not too bad. Really. It says 15.17 ounce. Yeah, I guess it does feel a little bit heavier than the Becker in hand, but it's balanced, so it doesn't feel leaden. Like, it feels alive, so that's cool. Yeah, I don't have the weight with the sheath, however. This is an interesting one here. The Joker Nomad 6.5. 6.75 inches is the blade length, despite 6.5 in the name. 144 on the price here. This one is the wood handle, but micarta is also available. The micarta is a little more expensive, about $157 there. Made in Spain, weight is just under 13 ounces and just barely over a pound with the sheath, 16.65. And you've got an N690 blade here, so it's stainless and it's thicker as well. It's about 1/4 of an inch thick here with convexed edge, which is really cool and is gonna stand up to both chopping, whether small branches or batoning really, really nicely. And this is gonna give you the better splitting wedge amongst all of these, I would argue. And it gets that thicker steel without giving you a whole bunch of extra weight. I mean, part of it is it's narrower instead of being a wider design this way. They've slimmed it up, but it's still comfortable and could still work pretty well for you. And this one also comes with a leather sheath, traditional kind of bushcraft pouch style right here. Belt loop on the back. Hope that helps. I had fun talking about fixed blades because I don't get to talk about fixed blades enough.
Oh, please.
That's why I put all fixed blades on the table virtually today. Let's go to our buried treasure segment for today. We're on the letter H. We're going through the alphabet for the second time now, showing something that has never been shown on the channel. And the brand is HPA Knives and Gear. And the knife in this instance is the SMJ Air Water Rescue Knife. Here it is. And you can see why this might not have shown up on the channel before. This is a very niche application of knife. This is not it's not something you could apply to, any random thing. But what we've got here for about 65 bucks is a dedicated marine rescue style knife. Just under a 4-inch blade, 420 stainless in this case, 420 J2, so very stainless, not gonna hold an edge forever, but this is less of an enthusiast knife and more of a last-ditch emergency scenario knife. Got looks like a titanium carbonitride finish on it. It actually doesn't say on the site itself, but that's what I'm gonna guess this is. And it comes with a shackle key in the blade itself too, which is nice. But yeah, full serrations, and that blunted sheep's foot tip means you're gonna be able to get in underneath a wetsuit or webbing, rope, or that sort of thing without puncturing either your inflatable life raft or your fellow human being when you're needing to get in there with that stuff. The yellow is, of course, highly visible in marine environments. You've got the pinky ring, and I'm gonna say it's a pinky ring in this case, not an index finger ring. Gives you a little extra retention and peace of mind when you're on the waves from accidentally dropping it. Shock cord right there. Here's the sheath. It locks in positively to that. That's interesting. I actually don't know what the purpose of that little hook on there is. If anyone in the comment section knows, please let us know. There you go. The SMJ Air Water Rescue Knife. All right, now we come to our segment called Measured Once, Cut Twice, where we take a second slice at a previous topic. And in this case, I'm using this as an opportunity to issue a correction from the new knives video we posted earlier this week, where we were talking about the Trailhead Trapper from White River Knives. And I mentioned Smith & Sons real quick, and then I was like, oh no, this is not a Smith & Sons knife. Even though I know they're working together, this is a White River knife and tool. This is actually a Smith & Sons collaboration. Egg on my face. At least I like eggs, so that's good. So there you go. Just wanted to give credit where credit is due. It's a very cool knife. And I like Smith & Sons, and I've seen their stuff a lot over the years, so that my mind was obviously working on a deeper level than I even thought.
Sure it was.
That's what I'm gonna go with anyway. And for anyone who's waiting for a folding knife to show up on today's episode, there you go. We have at least one folder on the table today. Well, let's do the lightning round. Chris Mack says, hey DCA, can you say measure twice, cut once without stumbling? It is getting a little harder to do, if I'm honest.
You just did, but that might have been the last time.
It was only because I was reading it straight up. I mean, I'm saying it wrong so many times in our measured once, cut twice segment. It's bound to happen sooner or later where I'm just gonna be all kinds of confused. Don't say it, don't stop. Don't say a word. Next,
but he got the spirit.
Next question. Ki Zionogori. Can you feature best new machete for 2025? My standby recommendation is still the Condor Terrachete because it is decently priced at about 60 bucks. It is a versatile, adaptable shape, 14.5-inch spear point blade. You can use it for any type of machete task. This is gonna do nicely. And it's compound ground. You've got a Scandi grind here at the back, better for choking up and carving. Roomy injection molded handle, really nicely done injection molded sheath to go with it. And on top of all of that, it also has a forward lanyard hole, which is my preferred safety method on big swinging implements like this. Lanyard comes out the back, you thread your hand down through it and then grab the handle. The cool thing about that is if you happen to lose your grip on the knife, it just kind of stays put in a way that other lanyard methods just can't do. Hands down, easily, still my go-to generic or general purpose machete recommendation. If someone says, I need a machete, I don't know what to get, I can say, get a Terrachete, and you'll be good to go. Next question comes from Images Birds. Images Birds. Hey DCA, looking for a small-ish fixed blade knife around 3 inches for outdoor use. I own a cold steel Master Hunter, but find it too large for most of my needs. Food prep, smaller camp tasks, high edge retention, and the ability to strike a ferro rod would be nice. No hunting, no Scandi grind, and only last-ditch emergency bushcrafting. Suggestions. Yeah, man. 2 here that kind of do things a little bit different. The first is the LT Wright Next Gen. This version with Black Micarta here is about $156. It's got a crisp spine for striking a fire, a little bit over 3 inches on the blade, full flat ground on this one. So it's a great general purpose blade shape. Super comfy Micarta handles here. No hot spots whatsoever, handcrafted to perfection, I must say. 156 or so bucks, if I didn't say that already, for this one. If you'd rather go with something with more edge retention, this is A2 right here, which is a high performance steel. But if you want more edge retention rather than more toughness, the White River Backpacker is always a great recommendation. Now, this doesn't have a crisp spine or other area where you could strike a fire steel with, so you might have to have something else with you to do that, but this will run either MagnaCut or S35 VN steel. A little bit smaller, a little bit less emergency bushcraft use. It's a great utilitarian fixed blade, however. 3 1/4 inch MagnaCut blade on this one, 170 bucks. Kydex sheath. Yeah, right there, Kydex sheath. Leather sheath on the LT Wright, if you'd rather go with that. Can't go wrong with either of those. Well, now we come to our final question of the day, which is, of course, our most seriousest question of the day, which comes from Kratos. Most seriousest question. That's how you know he's serious.
Extra serious.
There's a dragon in my backyard. He's nice, but threatening. Which knife do I brandish/wield to get him to go away? Alternatively, which knife do I use if he does the attack? If he does the attack, you're screwed. There's nothing I can recommend. And in terms of what knife are you going to brandish wield to get him to go away, you're going to have to go with symbology here, symbolism, or perceived stature. Because again, no matter what knife you have, if you're going mono a drago, you're not going to win. But go with anything from the brand Dragon King. That's how he'll know that you're in charge. You're the king, after all. Who's going to argue with the king? This right here is the modern Tanto, 10.5 inch blade. They've got full-size katanas as well, but again, he's just gonna laugh at you. You're gonna think, you're gonna come at me with a sword. But like this, smaller blade, you're more confident in your demeanor. And that should project when you say, hey, get off my lawn, dragon. 180 bucks for this guy right here. Small price to pay to get rid of your dragon infestation, I'd say.
I'd consider a restraining order.
How about Imperial Decree? Well, that's all we've got for today, folks. Keep your questions coming, man. Keep your most seriousest questions coming, too. If you got some alternate suggestions for any of the answers today, drop them below as well. And again, Essie V. Becker V. Tops. Drop your picks down in the comments for those. If you want to get your hands on any of these knives, check out the links in the description, which will take you to KnifeCenter.com. And don't forget while you're there about our Knife Rewards program. That means you get to earn some free money when you buy one of these knives that you can spend on a future purchase. I'm David C. Anderson from the Knife Center. That's Thomas behind the camera. We're signing off. See you next time.